Am I the a-hole for cutting a family member off from a trust fund? 2 years ago, I won a considerable sum in the lottery. Not a scratch-off, the real lottery, to the tune of many millions of dollars. My state does not allow anonymity, and I have many relatives who are less than financially responsible. I knew if I didn't do something, I'd spend the rest of my life being badgered. So I set up a trust for my extended family with a good chunk. How it works is if family has an emergency, they call the trustee and ask for funds, and they assess the need and gives them the money if it meets the terms set in the trust. It's to be used in situations like someone being behind in bills, medical debt, unexpected car repairs, etc. It's to help them get through tough times or major life events, not for vacations or luxury purchases. One of my cousins, let's call him Dale, applied for $75,000 for a brand new loaded pickup truck. He was denied. This was neither an emergency nor was it necessary as he had a perfectly fine vehicle. They offered $5,000 to help with down payment and taxes, and he accepted and bought the truck. This was 6 months ago. Today, the trustee brought to my attention that Dale has never made a payment of his own for the truck. He waits 2 months until he's behind, and then applies for help. The first 2 times they gave him the benefit of the doubt, but now that it's happened a 3rd time, and they're rightfully suspicious. I told them to advise Dale that he can no longer get assistance for his truck payment and to get him some information on how to return it if he cannot afford it, and that we would help, within reason, to get him a much cheaper vehicle that he could afford. Well, this morning his sister Jessie sent me a screenshot of a post he made on Facebook basically bashing me, calling me a selfish prick, and ending with stating he can't wait until I die so he can inherit millions and dance on my grave. Not sure why he thinks that. Most of the money will go to my parents and then the trust, along with a few charities. So I decided to revoke Dale's access to the trust completely, as I don't feel comfortable subsidizing the lifestyle of someone who is actively hoping for my death. Jessie feels bad now for sharing the post and is asking me to reconsider. While Dale is fuming, and my auntie said some choice words leading me to wonder if I'm an a-hole. Dale's father agrees with my decision, but many of our family split. What do you think? Edit. I know it's hard to understand why I even set up the trust to begin with, but I grew up an only child, so I've been extremely close with my cousins and consider their children my nieces/nephews, and them to be the closest thing I've had to brothers and sisters. So I don't want to see them struggle in life if I know I can prevent it without setting myself on fire. But I also am not the most objective person when it comes to them, so I created a trust and appointed a trustee to make the hard level-headed decisions. Dale is the first one to even attempt to take advantage, as the others have only requested funds during the pandemic to help with necessities like mortgage payments and food. And so far, 2 of my nieces were given some money to help with school. The fact that he tried scamming and taking advantage of something meant to help the whole family hurts worse than the Facebook post, honestly. Now for the top comments. Not a hole. My suggestions? 1. Revoke Dale's access to the trust. If you want to give him a chance to mend his ways, make it for 5 years conditioned on Dale improving as a human being. 2. Tell all the family of your decision. Remind them that it's your money, nobody's entitled to it. That the trust was set up as you care about your family's well-being. But it's not so that any one member abuses it, as it's not fair for all the others. 3. If you want, clarify the information about the will as well, and that the trust will not suddenly see a big infusion of cash upon your death. 4. Finally, let everyone know that the rules apply equally to all, and that anyone who agrees with Dale is equally able to notify the trustee or you not want to access to the trust anymore. P.S. You are very generous and smart in setting up the trust. Keep trusting, pun intended, your instincts. Do the rest of the family not realize that Dale misusing the trust means there's less for them when they really need it? Tell Auntie if Dale takes everything he wants, someday she won't get something she needs. They probably think it's such an unfathomable amount of money that it can never be spent down to zero. And that everybody is why so many lottery winners go broke. Opie has the right idea. Open access would deplete the winnings in no time. Not a hole. Opie must really love his extended family members or close to them, because if I won the lottery, chilly, my no game is strong. I have no problem telling people no. It'd be cheaper to hire someone to just say no to the family all the time. Not a hole. It is your money. And while the trust was mainly done to avoid their badgering, It was still a generous act as they never had any right to the money to begin with. You allowed them access for emergencies, and Dale tried to take advantage of it in you, and even then he still would have been allowed to use it if he didn't go on social media and post hate. It's his own fault. Facebook is not private, so he ran the risk of you seeing it. And if he can't understand that action of consequences, he shouldn't have access to your money, especially if he's clearly waiting for you to get said money. The ant clearly doesn't understand that access to your money is not a given, even if you are family. Dale was acting entitled and broadcasted it to the world. I would have cut him off after finding out he was trying to cheat the system personally. You have no reason to feel bad for not wanting to share with someone so hateful. The only person at fault here is Dale. If he didn't openly wish for your death on Facebook, which was just plain stupid and spiteful, then he would still be able to use the trust for emergencies. Now he has to do what everyone else does and figure it out on his own. Dale wishes for someone's death to take their cash and dance on their grave. Gets cut out of will/trust. Also Dale, shocked Pikachu face. Dude got what he deserved being greedy. Him taking cash like that takes cash away from the trust as a whole. The other relatives should be annoyed. To be fair, they're not upset that he was told no about the truck. They do think that was appropriate. It's the removing him as a beneficiary completely that some people think may be too harsh, because it means if he ever does have a legitimate emergency situation, he won't have the same family fund to fall back on. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not leaving some of my gaming consoles behind when I moved out? I, 18 male, moved out of my parents' house 6 weeks ago. We had a bad relationship for the last 3 years, and I couldn't handle living there, so I decided to stay with my best friend's parents. My relationship with my parents started to suffer when I was 12, and they became foster parents. Life changed pretty hard. They started taking in kids with all kinds of complex needs, and it led to them taking a sibling set when I was 13. And I had to give up my bedroom and move into my dad's old office, which was a box, so the boys and girls could have rooms big enough to share. We then moved to a bigger house so they could foster more kids, but I still ended up in the box room. Then we fought about me having a job and not treating my step-siblings now that I had money of my own. From there, we pretty much fought about everything. They told me I was selfish and ungrateful, and I had so much, the least I could do was try to be a good big brother and embrace the fact they wanted to help kids. I just resented ending up in a box room and being expected to spend money on these kids. It felt like being shoved into a tiny room should have been enough sacrifice, but no. What pissed them off was how little I wanted to take part in the day-to-day stuff, like therapies, doctor's appointments, taking them to and from school, etc. Once my parents moved into the bigger house, money was super tight and they are still struggling with that now. When I moved out, I took my video game consoles, the ones I paid for. There's my PS1, PS2, PS5, Switch, and a GameCube, and my parents were pissed. They asked me to leave some of the stuff there for their foster kids, but I said no. That I had bought them and I wanted to keep them. They called me selfish again, and said the kids deserved more of those happy things with hard lives they've had. So I told them they should buy them for them then, but I'm keeping my property. They called me an a-hole and told me they were ashamed of my attitude. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They want you to parent kids that are not even theirs. Just foster. It's great that they're helping those kids, but they sacrificed their own child to help others. Meh, they shouldn't take on more than they can handle financially. I honestly don't think people should be allowed to foster if they have underage children of their own. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if they do it correctly. There are many families that take good care of their kids and foster kids. Not the a-hole. It's your property and you can do whatever you want with it. On a more serious note, please consider counseling to deal with how your parents treated you. It sounds like you have some understandable anger. Don't let it poison the rest of your life. This. I let hate consume me when I was younger from issues that happened when I was a child, and it ate me away until someone finally convinced me to seek help. Not the a-hole. Sorry about this decision by your parents. A broken system allows family to overstretch their limits due to the huge need for foster care. What led your parents to suddenly take in so many kids all at once? Fostering is a family decision, with specific counseling for the natural-born or previously adopted children. It helps avoid the feelings you have, which are often present even if you get to keep your room, let alone get shoved entirely to the side. Good luck building up your life going forward. They had always wanted more kids, but my mom couldn't have more after me. I think they thought me being older would make it easier, because there would be less jealousy / less need to be so hands-on with me. Like I could feed myself, get myself up, dressed, shower, homework, all that stuff. So they had time for foster kids therapies. Next story. Am I the a-hole for insisting I get the phone back despite policy? My kids attend a year-round school and started backup for the new term 2 weeks ago. My eldest, 16 female, ended up getting her phone confiscated for using it during class to watch TikTok. We had discussed this before she even got the phone, then had some issues last year. As a last resort, I told her if that happened again, the phone would become mine, and she'd get an old flip phone that was my husband's, with no internet until she could prove trust. The school policies had changed this term from a phone would be confiscated until a parent could come get it, to a phone would be kept for 2 weeks as a first offense, 3 for second, so on and so forth. I wasn't okay with this, as I don't trust the school to not lose it. I know they've lost / broken other students' phones. Plus, I don't want them having access to my daughter's private information. I went to the school and requested it back, saying I wouldn't give it to my daughter, but I paid for it. Secretary gave me this bill, and I didn't blame her, but asked to speak with the vice principal. He comes out and repeats them. I said, okay, but I'm the parent. I paid for it, and I never signed anything giving you permission to hold it. They were refusing, so I said I'd sit in the office until it was given back. I did so, and waited for close to 2 hours. Finally, the principal came out and said I needed to leave. I said if I left, I'd be back with a police escort. At that point, the phone was returned to me. My husband says I Karen'd my way out of it. But to me, it's not their property to take. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. The school's policy is stupid. Your daughter was in the wrong. But many high school students need their cell phones for communication, like younger siblings, jobs, and medical appointments. Some kids stay home alone in houses with no landlines or drive, making having a phone a safety issue. While the school is within their rights to discipline your kid during school hours, they need to get their head out of their A and realize that there are bigger issues at play. Edit. Even stronger not the a-hole in light of the fact that the school lost or broke phones. I hope they're paying the parents $800 every time that happened. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to keep someone else's property, especially for weeks. Not the a-hole. Since when can schools just take private property with confidential information on it for weeks at a time? Especially knowing how often things get lost when they are confiscated. How often do you see articles of teachers / principals confiscating electronics and then selling them on eBay? I've definitely seen those stories. No thanks. They were definitely hoping you'd just get bored and leave. They have no grounds for keeping things like this. I knew it when you threatened to get the police involved. I've read at least one news story of someone who worked at a school stealing / spreading nudes off a student's phone. No, kids shouldn't have those, but teenagers are gonna be teenagers. And I was sharing underwear and swimsuit pictures to friends / boys when I was 16. That's a case where they were caught and punished for it. Edited to add, a phone does not necessarily need to be unlocked to access photos if an ill-meaning staff member has a charger cord to hook it up to the computer, and they know how to browse to the computer's file explorer as if the phone were a connected flash drive. Teacher here. Not the a-hole. What kind of whack job school is this? It is well understood in all the schools I have worked for that parents and teachers are a team working toward the same goal, the best interests of the child. Therefore, not only is the school's relationship with parents incredibly important, but parents should be looped in and consulted regarding both educational and disciplinary decisions whenever possible. You came in acknowledging that you agree that a phone should be confiscated, and ready to back that up at home by swapping your child's phone for a flip phone. So there should have been zero issue handing the phone back to you. I can't believe they choose this hill to die on. Just give the damn phone back. My god. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not getting a tattoo with my sisters and inheriting our grandma's money? My grandma is super against tattoos, as she says they don't look good on women. My 2 brothers have tattoos though, and that's fine with her. When she found out my oldest sister, there's 4 of us, had a tattoo, we still don't know who snitched, she took my sister out of her will. So my other sisters and I made plans for the three of us to get tattoos in solidarity with our sister. I said I was going to do it, but then I realized how dumb that was and decided not to do it. They went through with it though, and they were mad at me when they found out I didn't do it. My grandma took them off her will, and when she died, my two brothers and I inherited all her money and estates. My brothers and I gave our sisters a little bit of it, but they want us to split it equally. My sisters have been pressuring me specially, because I had said I was going to do that tattoo plan with them and didn't do it. Am I the a-hole for not getting that tattoo with them? Also, would I be the a-hole if I don't split the inheritance equally with them? I already gave them some, but they want more. You're the a-hole. You were right about it being a stupid reason to do it. Especially if it meant your brothers got all the money. And your grandma's ridiculous. But they were mad at you when they found out you didn't do it? So you promised. They went and got it done, and you didn't. No, hey, I thought about it and I really don't want a tattoo. Maybe we could find some agreement to share some of the money with sister. You knew they'd be disinherited, and you'd get significantly more money. You shouldn't be guilted or coerced into getting a tattoo that you aren't 100% sure about. But this was about the money to you. If it weren't, you could have just told your grandma to disinherit you. Dude, it doesn't sound or appear to the outside that you changed your mind and forgot to tell them. It sounds like you talked them into getting a tattoo with malicious Machiavellian intent. You're the a-hole. You took advantage of your grandma's views on women to steal inheritance from your siblings. It seems like OP planned this, and it is almost funny how she's behaving innocent. Everyone sucks here. Your grandma sucks, you suck, and your family sucks. The only fair thing to do is split it equally between everyone. If you chose to keep it, go for it. But is the money more important than your family? If so, you'd be the biggest a-hole of all.
Am I the a-hole for buying my boyfriend flowers after he mentioned most men only get them when they die? Plus updates. Original post. Okay, so my boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 21 female, have been together for about 5 months, and it has been good so far. But about a week ago, when I was at his apartment, he told me that most men only receive flowers when they're dead. He then went on a bit of a rant about women not caring as much as men when it comes to their partners, and said that men want shows of affection too. I honestly took this all as a hint that he wanted flowers. So yesterday, I went to Whole Foods and picked out all the flowers I thought he would like, and put together a big bouquet for him. I also got him a coffee, some chocolates, and a few other things I thought he would like. I've done things like this before, but without the flowers. I usually put a Game Pass gift card or a Lego set, etc. I feel like this is important because I don't want anyone to think I don't show him affection or get him gifts. I definitely do. So I show up at his apartment with literally the biggest smile. I was so excited for his reaction, but when I gave him the flowers, he got a super uncomfortable look on his face and wouldn't touch or kiss me at all. I asked him what was wrong and if he liked the flowers, and he just kind of blew up at me, saying that flowers are only for apologizing, and that if I cheated on him, I needed to tell him right now. I was shocked and started crying, because I have never and would never cheat on anyone. He took the flowers to the kitchen and threw them in the trash, which honestly felt like a huge punch in the gut. He told me to get out of his apartment, and that he didn't have time for cheating bitches. His words. Every time I tried to explain, he said he didn't want my excuses, and that when I'm ready to tell him who the man is, then I can talk to him. But there is no man. I didn't cheat on him. I just thought he wanted flowers. I've never thought of flowers as just an apology. He's never gotten them for me, but I just thought he didn't like showing love that way, so I buy them for myself every week. I'm just so confused and hurt by his reaction, and I don't know what to do to fix the situation. So am I the a-hole for buying him flowers? Do women really only buy flowers as an apology? I'm so confused. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. The hell? This dude is a major a-hole for sure. Certainly not the a-hole. I'd be over the moon to receive flowers. And this dude certainly sounded like he was asking for flowers without asking for them. Your boyfriend is just a total jerk for sure and showing his true colors. He probably wanted to vent about how women have it so much better than men, and picked the one thing he thought he would never receive as a man, as his example of women having the good life while men suffer. When she showed up with her gift, she took away his ability to rant, so he jumped into saying she cheated. He just wanted to rant and insult her. How dare she show up with a thoughtful gift, rather than apologize for being a woman who uses men. Not the a-hole. There is literally zero possibility of anyone being the a-hole in this situation except him. The way he spoke to you is a warning about who he really is. Listen to it. Dump that loser. He very obviously is a not very covert misogynist and blames women for self-induced pitfalls. Yes, listen to him telling you who he is. It's only been a few months. Get out now before you get more attached. Be prepared to block him everywhere. He may be unhinged enough to harass you. And whatever he says, do not take him back. It will show him you can be manipulated and will only encourage him to be bolder in introducing abusive behaviors. It seems he was only ranting about that as some rhetoric that tries to prove men are just as oppressed as women. When actually faced with what he supposedly was arguing for, he got uncomfortable because it isn't actually an issue he believes in. Sounds like he's leaning further from you ideologically. That's why I broke up with my ex. He started saying stuff like, bring back manly men, and I knew it was over. That's what I think too. He never actually wanted the flowers. He wanted to prove he was being shorted by women, and when I got him what he wanted, he threw it back in my face because he wanted to prove a point and me getting him flowers messed that up. Mini update. I'm completely overwhelmed by the responses, and everyone is making me realize that he's not worth my time at all. I tried to do something nice for him and he threw it back in my face. I texted him and told him we need to talk, and his response was finally ready to confess or what? So that tells me he's done no critical thinking on his end about the situation. We are meeting for lunch tomorrow, and I will update everyone after. Thank you everyone for the kind replies and for opening my eyes to what an a-hole this guy is. I'm just glad I didn't waste years of my time. I want to clarify a few things about my post. His parents gift each other flowers regularly, so he has seen flowers given to a partner for reasons other than cheating. His mother gifted him flowers for his college graduation, so he has received flowers previously, and this is not the first time. Also, I have had a few people tell me it's weird of me to gift him things like the Lego sets I mentioned in my post. He told me at the beginning of our relationship that his love language is gift-giving, and he loves receiving gifts. That is why I do it. I did not think it would come across as weird in any way. I only spend around $50 each time, which is nothing for me as I have a well-paying job. I was in a relationship for 2 years previously, and I gave my partner monthly gifts throughout the entire relationship, so I'm in no way trying to love bomb him. I just always want my partner to know they are loved and appreciated. Mini update 2. Everyone. His mother is asking if she can call me. What should I do? His mother loves me and is honestly an angel. I don't know what he's told her about the situation. Should I be worried? I'm sorry for updating so many times. There's just a lot happening. I'm going to take Reddit's advice and take the call from his mother. I don't think she means any harm in calling me, but if it gets hostile at all, I will hang up. I am also considering canceling lunch tomorrow, but it partially depends on how this phone call goes. I've also had someone suggest just sending them both the link to this post, which I am considering. Everyone's opinions on that would be appreciated. I told his mother she can call me this evening, so I will update after that as well. Now for the full update. Alright guys, this isn't the update any of you were expecting, or maybe it is, and it's definitely not the one I was expecting to give. But his mom called me, and it was both him and his mom on the phone. I pretty quickly told them I wasn't willing to talk to both of them, but my ex-boyfriend was crying. Like, crying actual tears. So I listened. His mom told me he had been talking to her about us, and she wants him to talk to me with her support so he can tell me everything. He started by telling me how he hasn't felt like I'm what he wants in a woman. I'm not willing to move in with him yet, and he's someone who only wants to date for 6 months before getting engaged, which he had not told me before, so this surprised me. This would mean he wants to be engaged next month, which is way too soon for me. He also told me that he has trauma around cheating, because his high school girlfriend cheated on him in junior year. And you guessed it, apologized with a rose. Then he told me that he wants someone who is less career-focused and someone who wants to have kids and not work. He said he thinks some of my ideals and morals are skewed, but wouldn't tell me which ones or what he meant. He also told me he's realized I am a radical feminist, which I think is extreme. While yes, I consider myself a feminist, I don't hate men or think they are all bad. I've never talked badly about them to him, and have really given him no reason to think this, aside from being pro-choice. He said he can't date someone who doesn't respect him and emasculates him. He said the flowers I gave him showed him that I viewed him as feminine, and also showed that I was cheating. I told him again that I was not, and had never cheated on him, and asked if he had cheated on me before. He was quiet for, I kid you not, a full 2 minutes and then asked me to define cheating. I asked if he had slept with someone else, and he said no. I asked why he mentioned the flowers if he thought flowers were emasculating, and he said it was more about the fact that men are treated, and I quote, more as slaves than human in our society. He said it was less about him wanting flowers, and more about him feeling like women aren't owed flowers. That was enough explanation on where he was coming from for me. I told him our relationship was clearly over and we don't share the same ideals. He said he was willing to work on it if I would make changes to become wife material. I said no and hung up. So yeah, lunch is definitely canceled and we're not together anymore. His mom didn't really say much other than that she would miss me and would always care about me. I know it all seems like it was for the best, but I'm heartbroken. I didn't expect our relationship to end like this. He knew I wanted to work on my career, wait to have kids, etc., and always said he was fine with it. So it seems like he changed all of his expectations suddenly. I've been non-stop crying since the call, and I don't know what to think. I feel so stupid for not seeing that he was like this sooner, and I just wish I never dated him. But I hope that gives some closure to everyone, and I appreciate everyone's help and kind words. Thank you, everyone. Just read the update. I know it's rough, but wow, consider yourself lucky. This guy is cheating in some way, if it took him so long to respond. No one turns on a dime like he just did. You're both so young. Getting married after 6 months at your age is crazy. He has a lot of growing up to do, and his mommy knows that. You will be just fine. I'm just glad our relationship ended when he started expressing these views. I'd rather that than him hide it from me. He's going to abuse the heck out of whoever is dumb enough to marry him. I mean, the relationship certainly died, so I guess the flowers were appropriate regardless. She should have shoved them up his behind though. She'll know for next time, though hopefully she'll find someone who is emotionally stable and there won't be a next time. Next story, update. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my wife when she didn't back me up after our friend almost pushed me into a pool? Original post. I, 34 male, have never been a strong swimmer. I can tread water if needed, but I generally avoid swimming when possible. This is something my wife Anna, 32 female, knows and has always respected. Last weekend, we were at a barbecue at our friends Dave and Sarah's house. They have a nice backyard pool, and most people were planning to swim. I politely declined when everyone started changing into swimwear, saying I'd just hang out poolside. My wife went swimming with the others while I enjoyed watching from a safe distance. After about an hour, my friend Dave started insisting I join them. I kept saying no, explaining I wasn't comfortable swimming. He laughed it off and said, "Come on, don't be boring." I continued to refuse, getting increasingly uncomfortable with his pressuring. Things escalated when Dave started approaching me with this mischievous grin saying, "Sometimes you just need a little push." He actually grabbed my arm and started pulling me toward the pool. I panicked and pulled away, nearly falling in the process. I was genuinely frightened and shouted for him to stop. What upset me most was that my wife was right there watching this happen and said nothing. She was laughing along with everyone else like it was just a joke. I felt completely betrayed that she didn't step in when she knows how uncomfortable I am with swimming. After we got home, I confronted her. I'll admit I raised my voice significantly. I said something like, "How could you just stand there while Dave was trying to force me into the pool? You know I hate swimming. You're supposed to have my back." She got defensive and said I was overreacting and that Dave was just having fun. This made me even angrier, and I ended up sleeping on the couch. The next day, she told me I embarrassed her by making a scene and then yelling at her afterward. Now she's saying I should apologize to her and to Dave for ruining the vibe at the party. I don't think I'm wrong for expecting my wife to stand up for me, but maybe I shouldn't have yelled. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your wife and Dave are ridiculous little punks. Sounds like none of them left middle school. I'm sorry your wife doesn't have your back. She is more concerned about what her friends think than your comfort and safety. Is this a pattern? Not the a-hole, and Dave is not your friend. Feeling safe and respected isn't optional in a relationship. He deserved backup, not betrayal. It's not even the pool. It's about her leaving you hanging. When my mom was a little girl, her brother rowed her away from shore, Lake Michigan, and threw her in. Told her to sink or swim, thinking it was the best way to teach her. My grandpa was able to rescue her before she drowned. Until the day she died, she hated water so much that she wouldn't even get her face wet under the shower spray. Your fear is real, and it is nobody's business, nor is it their right to force you into water or ridicule you about it. Is your wife afraid of spiders? If so, get a tarantula and put it in a see-through container. Then put it on the pillow next to her head so she sees it first thing in the morning. Tell her it's been there all night. When she screams at you, tell her she's being silly, that nothing would probably have happened to her if it got out. Then ask her if she understands yet. Now for the update. It's been a few days since my original post, and I wanted to give an update on the situation with my wife and Dave. First, I want to thank everyone for their comments and insights. I'm sorry I don't have time to respond to each comment. I also appreciate the Redditors saying that I'm weak or should start standing up for myself. Not gonna lie, maybe there's some truth in that. However, reading the different perspectives helped me reflect on the situation more clearly. After taking some time to cool down, I decided to have a proper conversation with my wife. We sat down after dinner, and I made sure to approach the topic calmly. I started by apologizing for yelling at her. I explained that while I was hurt by her not stepping in, my reaction wasn't constructive and I shouldn't have raised my voice. Anna listened and then opened up. She admitted she hadn't realized how genuinely frightened I was in the moment. She thought I was just being stubborn about swimming, and that Dave was trying to lighten the mood. She said she could see now how his actions crossed a line, and she apologized for not supporting me when I needed her. We had a deeper conversation about boundaries and how important it is to back each other up in social situations. She promised to be more attentive to situations that make me uncomfortable, and I promised to communicate my feelings before they escalate to shouting. It was actually a really productive conversation that brought us closer. As for Dave, he called me the other day. I thought he might be calling to apologize, but that's not what happened. Instead, he asked why I was being so weird about the pool incident and said everyone was just trying to have fun. When I tried explaining how his actions made me feel unsafe, he dismissed it and said I needed to lighten up and learn to take a joke. I kept my cool and told him firmly that trying to force someone into water when they've repeatedly said no isn't a joke. It's disrespectful and potentially dangerous. He scoffed and changed the subject to some upcoming basketball game. My wife and I have decided to take a break from hanging out with Dave for a while. Anna completely supports this decision now that she understands how serious this was for me. We're planning to spend more time with friends who respect boundaries instead. I'm relieved that my wife and I are on the same page now, even if Dave still doesn't get it. Sometimes you realize which relationships are worth putting the work into and which ones might need to be reconsidered. Well done on actually talking with your wife about it. But Dave? Screw Dave. Dave isn't a friend. Friends listen when asked to do so and try to understand each other out of respect. Great update. I am so glad you didn't listen to some of the weirdos on your original post. Haha. Dave, as I said then, sounds like he sucks. One of those really juvenile people who all, years later, still thinks the best laugh you can possibly have is putting a bug in the face of someone who's afraid of bugs. To say nothing of the fact that pushing to someone who is afraid of water and can't swim towards water is obviously way more dangerous than that. The fact that he can't even bring himself to apologize when you're saying you were upset, just switching the subject to avoid even a second of self-reflection, really indicates what his maturity level is. Taking a break from him honestly sounds like a good idea. Update. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend via Reddit? Original post. I made this Reddit account to address you. I won't put your name out there, but I know you regularly read posts like these since you used to bring them up and listen to podcasts with them. I'm sure you'll know it's about you when reading it. I, 29 male, caught my girlfriend, 31 female, cheating on me. This time I have undeniable proof after she lied to my face about it. We've been friends for 5 years and started dating 3 years ago. I love this woman with everything I had. I truly thought she felt the same. A few months ago, we hit a rough patch and argued a lot. I really thought we were going to break up. I hit rock bottom. I was severely depressed. One Saturday, we had plans to attend a wedding together. You live a fair distance away, and neither of us had a car, but we didn't mind taking the extra steps to make it work. That morning, I asked what time you'd be coming over, so we could get ready and head out. I even offered to pay for your Uber. You said, okay. Hours went by, I didn't hear from you, and I started spiraling. I had a panic attack. I checked your location and it wasn't your house. It was some random parking lot. I messaged you, no reply. After a while, your location just turned off. I was worried sick. I kept calling, no answer for 6 hours. I was panicking. Then at 9:30 p.m., note this time, you finally picked up. Your first words were, "Are you okay?" And I just broke down crying, asking, "Are we okay?" You told me your phone died and that you were just out with your friends from school, and I believed you. You'd never lied to me before, or so I thought. The next day, I couldn't even get out of bed. Depression hit me like a truck. You came over to comfort me, but something felt off. I tried to shake it off, thinking maybe it was just in my head. That morning, I placed your Apple Watch on the charger. That's when I saw messages from you to your friend from school, the one you hung out with the day of the wedding. One said, he was growling in my ear. Another said, I had to cover up my hickeys like I was in school. Sent around 9:30, the exact time I was crying to you on the phone. When you got out of the bathroom, I saw the marks on your neck. When I asked, you said they were from scratching. On our way to work, I brought up the messages. You said you were lying to your friend, that you made it all up. I didn't believe you, but I swallowed it and swept it under the rug. Today, I was at your house as your family had a birthday party for you. Your family was there, some of your friends, and our mutual friends too, including the one that celebrated you cheating and lying. The house was packed. I drank quite a bit because I knew I wasn't going to have the courage to do what I did. I went to your room to lie down in your bed, saying I didn't feel well. And after some time, I told you I was going home and ordered an Uber. I'm in the Uber now typing this up, along with the iPad I gave you. While lying in your bed, I found it, and on it, I didn't just find proof of you cheating, I found everything. The day you turned your location off, you were with the guy you play Call of Duty with. I'm mad at myself for not catching how often you played with him and how you'd laugh at his jokes. I saw the messages, how you two talked for months, how you planned a hotel meetup the day after he picked you up from work, how you kissed him in his car, how you told him we broke up. You sending a pic of the hickeys he gave you, and guess what? Those messages? Sent at 9:45 p.m., the same time I was breaking down on the phone, and you were telling me everything was okay. How inconsiderate could you freaking be? Hearing someone you claim to love cry on the phone, and while they are, you're texting your school friend and him about your infidelity. Speaking of the school friend, I saw a conversation celebrating your decision to cheat and laughing about how you got away with it, gassing each other up for lying to me. And there's more shit I found. I found flirty messages with multiple Uber drivers. I found out the ring you said was from your late grandmother was actually from your ex-boyfriend. You wore it our entire relationship. I found messages to him too, telling him you were single, that you will always love him. I saw more messages with your Call of Duty duo, with him saying very sexual things and you saying how nice that sounded. That was the same day I surprised you by coming over to your house for Thanksgiving. I found you sending sexy selfies to multiple men. Some of those pictures were from outings that we were on together. All this crap, and yet you talked about marrying me? You're a piece of shit. Normally, I'm not a petty person, but screw it. By the time I press post, I will have already sent screenshots of everything to your friends, the ones who would be ashamed of you, to your family, the ones who would disown you, to your Call of Duty buddies who knew nothing about your double life, to my family, to our friend group, and to the crappy school friend who knew everything, smiled in my face at the party, and is still there thinking everything is great. Every person who ever believed in us will know the truth. I've never been more disappointed in anyone in my entire life. You made this bed. Now lie in it. So am I the a-hole for exposing my no-good cheating girlfriend and breaking up with her via Reddit? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. This is so petty. I love it. Hate you're going through this, OP. Let us know when she texts you about this post. Limau, right? You just know she's gonna read it and hit OP with a "funny how you didn't say all that to my face" text. I'll be waiting for the update too. I don't even get why the cheating ex even kept the relationship when she was really only interested in being available to everyone. My ex-boyfriend told me, sometimes you like a home-cooked meal and sometimes you like fast food. That is how he looked at cheating. He liked the comfort of having a steady partner but wanted side pieces. I said, well, why don't you go into a relationship stating it will be open? And he said, ew, gross. I don't want my partner to be with other men. Some people are just selfish. Not the a-hole. Set up a physical and get tested for STDs. Oh, I informed an ex who admitted to cheating that I was doing this. She lost it, and I literally laughed out loud at her. Apparently, I hurt her feelings when I said that. Haha. The bad things is that you have to continue to do those tests. Several of them can actually pop negative for years. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. Not the a-hole at all. I hope you sent this information to her family, so they know what a nasty, cheating, manipulative sicko their daughter/sibling/relative is, and why you will be ghosting her and not around anymore, before she's able to spin her weave of deception and blame this breakup on you. 1. Take care of yourself. And remember, this is a good thing because it is better that you find out now rather than investing a lot of time, money, and emotional energy in this relationship. 2. Take some time to heal and don't rush into another relationship until you are ready. 3. Know that almost all of the folks here on Reddit are thinking of you and thinking positive energy for you. Take care of yourself. Good luck. Now for the first update. Thank you all for the overwhelming support and kind messages after my last post. If anyone's wondering, yes, I'm doing okay. Something just clicked while I was going through those messages. For the first time, I truly realized I'm worthy of love, and that the first person who needs to give that love to me is me. Out of all the options I had in that moment, the one I chose felt like the smartest. If I had confronted her in private, she could have manipulated the narrative or gaslit me into doubting what I saw. If I had gone downstairs and made a scene, I would have been surrounded by her family and friends, which would have turned into a screaming match where I'd be outnumbered. So I removed myself from the situation and let the truth unravel on its own. Just to clear a few things up, we both had our locations shared on iPhone. I wasn't stalking her. The sexy photos weren't nudes. And even still, I didn't send those pictures out. Only the text conversations between her and the guys she was messaging. Sending those to people is wrong on another level, and I would never stoop that low. After I left, I took an Uber home, grabbed a few things, and went to stay at my friend's place for the night. I felt okay, but I thought that was just the adrenaline, and I was going to crash hard. I've already signed up for therapy, scheduled an STI test, and I'm planning to take boxing and pottery classes just to keep myself active and focused. While I was staying over, one of her Call of Duty friends messaged me. Turns out the guy she slept with has a wife and kid. I'm not sure how that situation is unfolding, but I hope his wife finds out. That friend also told me she's been removed from their squad. Our mutual friend group has shown a lot of support. One of them even removed her as a bridesmaid from their upcoming wedding and blocked her entirely. I thought everything had finally calmed down until I came back home this morning. I had already blocked her on everything, so there was no way for her to reach me. Instead, she showed up. She drove her parents' car to my house and sat outside until she saw me. As I walked to my door, she came out crying hysterically, a messy mix of sadness and rage. I didn't say a word, just walked inside and closed the door while she yelled from the other side until she eventually left. Nothing was mentioned about the Reddit post, so I guess she didn't see it. Later that day, her brother called me. He apologized on behalf of the family. He said everything seemed normal after I left until their mom checked her phone. She pulled my ex aside, trying to keep things quiet. But then her aunt, the one who talks a lot, shouted, "You're cheating on your boyfriend?" in front of everyone. That blew the lid off. According to him, their family has a history with infidelity, and it caused serious pain in the past. So this incident not only reopened old wounds, but more cheating scandals within the family were exposed that same night. This party was supposed to be a reconciliation moment for relatives who hadn't seen each other in years. And the friend who celebrated the cheating with her? She got cussed out so badly by the family that she left in tears. Her brother told me he doesn't blame me for anything. He even said I handled it better than most would have, and that he's here if I need anything. Honestly, the only thing I feel bad about is unintentionally ripping apart a family that was trying to move forward. I had no idea all that was going on behind the scenes, and I do feel like an a-hole for being the grenade that set it all off. This is one of the first posts I've read where the cheater's friends and family seem to be acting appropriately. I'm sorry this happened, OP, but I'm glad you came out mostly unscathed. Best of luck. Yeah, it's rare to see accountability from the cheater's side for once. Honestly, the only thing I feel bad about is unintentionally ripping apart a family that was trying to move forward. Were they though? Were they? It sounds like cheating is a cause for most of their drama, and a lot of untold drama was unveiled the same night based off your wording. Moving forward requires you not be still doing the same thing that holds you back after all. Like a drug addict can't move forward from their addiction and the harm it's caused others until they clean up their act and make amends, and a cheater isn't far removed from an addict of some variety either to sex or their own ego. Thank you for this perspective. It definitely helps. You only left one loose end. You said you hoped the wife of the guy she was cheating with finds out. Well, you can make sure by telling her yourself. She deserves to know just like you did. I don't know that guy's socials or anything. I can only trust that the group did, but you're right. Second update. Mentally, I've been doing okay. I'd be lying if I said this hasn't been hard. It has. Some days are better than others. Part of me still has the urge to unblock her, just to see what she might say, but I haven't, and I won't. One quote I saw on Twitter has been helping me stay grounded. It said, "Because no amount of I love you can erase the fact that you looked at my worth, weighed it against your urge, and picked the urge." I made that quote my phone's lock screen. It's a constant reminder not to give in. On the health front, I'm clean so far, thankfully. I'm staying cautious and plan to continue regular checkups just to be safe. I'm also currently looking to move. I don't want to risk her showing up at my place again. Therapy's been going great. Pottery, though, I suck horribly, but I'll still continue to go. I still carry some guilt about what happened with her family. I know I didn't cause the fractures, but I lit the match that exposed all of it. According to one of her friends, she's aware of the post. That same friend messaged me, calling me a prick, claiming this was an invasion of privacy and that I should have talked to her one-on-one instead of going public. I didn't respond. After everything that's happened, I've said my piece. I'm not interested in debating my healing process with people who are enabling her. Right now, I'm focused on moving forward. Is this the same friend who got chewed out and left the party previously? No, that was a different friend. Last story. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my brother's ex's daughter for hurting my niece intentionally? For more context, I am 22, my brother is 33, and his ex's daughter is 11. 12 years ago, he had an on and off relationship with this woman. We'll call her Paula. Paula was always a disrespectful person, to the point where our mother told him she was not allowed in our house due to Paula calling our mother out of her name several times. She cheated on my brother, admitted it, and ended up having a baby by the man she cheated on him with, but chose to stay with my brother because he was a family man and he got back together with her. Now her daughter is growing up to act like her, disobedient, dishonest, cursing out classmates and teachers, flipping off the police, and finding pleasure in making others cry. She's already been kicked out of kindergarten, 1st through 3rd grade, and now she is homeschooled because she couldn't keep her hands to herself. Instead of correcting her, Paula would curse out the school. It would fall on my brother, because every time she was in trouble, Paula would drop her daughter off with him and disappear, not answering her phone until she decided to come pick her up. My brother finds no issue with this. Paula's daughter is now 11, and my brother and Paula separated about 5 to 6 years ago, but they're still co-parenting Paula's daughter. Now my brother finally had his first biological child, my niece, whom I absolutely fell in love with. The mother of my niece is cordial with my brother, but they broke up shortly before my niece was born. As every first-time auntie says about their niece or nephew, that's my baby. She is 10 months old as of 2 weeks ago and is already starting to walk. But when I came over to his house to see her, Paula's daughter was there. Every time I tried playing with my niece, or if my niece got too giggly or happy, Paula's daughter would come running to the living room and mess with her by pushing her feet apart to make her lose balance, slamming my niece's fingers in between books by accident, swinging her by the arms while she was trying to practice walking, or picking her up and spinning her around really fast. Eventually, my niece became overstimulated and started crying and fussing. I asked my brother if there was any way he could calm Paula's daughter down. This little girl heard that and immediately got in my face and yelled, "No!" I guess she thought it was cute because she started giggling and continued messing with my niece. I looked at my brother again so he could correct it, and he didn't. I let it go up until it was time for my niece to eat, and she snatched the bottle from my niece's mouth and dangled it over her so she couldn't reach it, making her scream and cry since she was already tired. I screamed at the little girl to leave her alone and go to her room, and it seemed like that was the first time she'd ever been yelled at or disciplined. She ran to her room, slammed the door, and started screaming and throwing things, kicking the door, and making weird noises. Now my brother is mad at me because I should have held my tongue and let her be a kid. She's 11 with no social life and has never been corrected for anything, so I don't blame her. I blame my brother and her mother, who didn't address it at a young age. If she does this in front of me, I'm scared about what happens behind closed doors. Now my brother is telling my dad and mom what happened. My dad agrees with him, saying I should have held my tongue, but he understands that I'm just a protective auntie. My mom doesn't think I'm wrong at all. I know he probably told Paula too, so I'm just waiting on a call from her, telling me how much of a bad influence I am. Am I the a-hole? Note, I do understand that yelling at a child is what makes me a bad person here. But Jesus, who's going to sit there and watch their niece who isn't even one yet get treated like that without her dad stepping in? Was I overstepping? Now for the comments. I actually don't think you did enough. If this child is physically hurting the baby in front of her dad, who knows what she's doing when nobody's looking? I think you need to call CPS. I don't say that lightly, but what happens when your brother steps out of the room and the 11-year-old accidentally pushes the baby and she hits her head on the table? This is a mess waiting to happen, and even if they can't take the baby, they probably won't, a CPS scare could help. I see you in the comments saying your brother is an amazing father, and I need you to understand he is not. Letting one child, who isn't his, terrorize his baby in front of him is not how an amazing father acts. He is a bad dad. One of my nieces loved to swing her toddler sister around, swing her around by her wrists, broke her arm. Your brother and his partner are abusers. Call CPS before the baby is seriously hurt. Where's the baby's mom? And why does your brother have custody of a child that's not his? I completely forgot to add that. I'm not even sure if the mom knows about this. She knows how much we hated Paula, but she never got details since we didn't want to scare her off by making it seem like it's his family against Paula. After she got pregnant, she always thought of Paula's kid as really hyper and a little bit too touchy with her stomach. They eventually broke up before my niece was born, but they are cordial. My brother claims he fell in love with a child who wasn't his, as he has no control over her.